Arms Dealer received some pretty substantial updates this season, including added encounters, the addition of tormentors, and major changes to the boss fight. Brachus Zahn is now health gated, which means we can no longer insta-bake him. The boss room is now loaded with turrets and requires far more coordination than ever before. So today, we'll be covering the newly revamped Arms Dealer Grandmaster with tips and tricks to help you and your fire team clear this with ease. I'm Above, and if you enjoyed today's video, a like and subscription would be greatly appreciated. Now, let's get into it. Starting with my recommended team comp, we went with one Well of Radiance Warlock with Starfire Protocol, and one Strand subclass of your choosing to deal with champions and help crowd control the ad dense encounters. Your third fire team member can really run anything they're comfortable with, but ideally it'd be someone who can rock Aeon Gauntlets to supply your team with heavy ammo. There are some pretty funny tricks that you can use in this Grandmaster to essentially have infinite heavy, and I'll be touching on that later in the video. As for weapon loadouts, we went with an Arbalist and Wishender for anti-barrier, and one Galahorn for ad clear and to provide Wolfpack rounds to our other rocket users. This Nightfall is Rocket Surge, and we definitely want to take advantage of that. We paired this with 2 unstoppable scout rifles and 2 legendary rockets in our heavy slot. Special weapons are totally personal preference here, though chill clip fusions, wave frame grenade launchers, and snipers are all fantastic options. Key armor mods include solar resist and concussive dampener to help counter the weekly solar threat, especially because there is a ton of incoming solar damage throughout this Nightfall, including the Cabal turrets, the Incendiors, and Brachus Zahn's sniper rifle, just to name a few. Your Well user should be leveraging Ashes to assets to get their super back as quickly as possible, while your Aeons will need to have Sect of Insight equipped to produce heavy ammo. You'll also want Heavy Ammo Finder, Heavy Ammo Scout, and Bricks from Beyond equipped to maximize your heavy drops throughout this Grandmaster. Diving right into the Nightfall, the first room is extremely straightforward. We have just one barrier champion to deal with, and then we can scan our ghost and head outside. And your first priority should be taking out the Thresher. These things are absolute menaces if left alive too long, so make sure to focus them as a team right away. Once dead, your next priority will be the snipers on the far left catwalk. I recommend using this cover on the close right hand side to take them out and clear the remaining ads. This is a great spot because the enemies funnel nicely towards you and you have some pretty safe cover to make this opening area pretty simple. There will be both a barrier and an unstop, and I like to get a finisher on at least one of them to top off on ammo. We'll now take the launcher to a new platform that didn't exist in the previous iteration of the strike, and we'll have gladiators waiting for you on the other side. I recommend having a shackle grenade ready to go for this, as it will allow you to spawn trap these enemies that can otherwise be pretty dangerous. Once dead, focus the 3 snipers on your right, followed by the barrier champion on the platform across from you. Once dead, take out the war beasts, and you're free to take the launcher back to the more familiar portions of the strike. When you land, there will be a Shadow Legion Centurion that drops a flaming orb when it dies. In order to avoid overlapping ad spawns, don't go after him just yet. Instead, you want to first clear the area where you'll be depositing the orb, and there will be a small group of ads and a barrier champion guarding that deposit, so make them your first priority. Now that they're dead, you can kill the Shadow Legion Centurion and pick up the orb, which will spawn in a new wave of ads, including another barrier champion. After all of these ads are dead, you can either dunk the ball before it despawns or let it dissipate, spawning in another Centurion that you can farm infinitely for heavy ammo drops. Once dunked, a new wave of ads will appear, including a Thresher that flies overhead. Similar to the first outside area, you want to dump rockets into the Thresher so that it doesn't wipe your team. Now that the room is clear, you can make your way to the exit where an unstop is waiting for you, and I recommend finishing this champion to top off on ammo. As we make our way outside, a Thresher will immediately fly overhead, which is why I recommend taking cover behind these boxes and focusing it as a fire team. You can then clear these enemies from range and take out the 2 unstoppables with virtually no threat to you. As you push up, make sure to break the turret on the ship that guards the prisoners. This thing does crazy amounts of damage, so make sure to get rid of it before trying to approach them. A barrier champion and Shadow Guard Centurion will be guarding the prisoners, so take them out, then dunk the orb to free them. You can then jump on the roof of this bunker and take out the next massive wave of enemies from this high ground. There will be yet another unstop, but this area is actually quite simple if you play from a distance. Work your way towards the entrance of the ship, kill the next Shadow Guard Centurion, and dunk the orb to move on to the tank encounter. Clearing from the entrance of this room can be a massive pain, which is why I recommend hopping on your sparrows and booking it to the bridge on the right hand side. Plant a well and use this high ground for cover. In my experience, this is a much better place to be because you can spawn kill the scions both in front of and behind you, then use your rockets to nuke the tank. If done correctly, this part of the room will be cleared in about 10 seconds. There will also be an unstop hanging out below you, but when the tank dies, it will start to retreat towards the ramp at the back of the room. You can take this out, and as you make your way up the ramp, a group of incendiors and a barrier champion will spawn out of the door in front of you. You'll also have gladiators and an unstop that will approach you from the right, so make sure your strand user is ready to suspend them so you can focus on taking out the barrier champion. And once dead, you can shift your focus back to the unstop on the right hand side and get a finisher to top off on ammo before the next big fight. Once you're ready, activate the switch and it will lower the elevator. And when you do this, I recommend backing up to the top of this ramp. War beasts will spawn out of the door to your left, while a Tormentor, Cabal turrets, and Legionaries will spawn on the platform to your right. Positioning ourselves here puts us out of range of the turrets and gives us plenty of time to weaken the Tormentor. While this is happening in front of you, a small pack of war beasts will spawn behind you, so make sure you have one person assigned to deal with them. And once the Tormentor reaches 50% health, a group of Scion snipers will spawn behind you while an unstop spawns near the Tormentor. Same as before, have one person clear the snipers while the other two deal with the Tormentor and the champion up front. While this seems chaotic, this Tormentor can be suspended with Strand and finished while low on health, so he's not as threatening as he seems. Feel free to spam heavy ammo and supers in order to clear this area quickly, and you can also back up if needed. And once everything has been taken out, the exit door will open and we're moving on. When the door opens, jump up into this cubby on the right hand side and drop a well. This allows you to quickly take out the Cabal turrets and the unstoppable champion below you. There will also be two barrier champions in this area, but as long as you play your cover on the high ground, they shouldn't pose much of a threat. As you approach the elevator, it's worth noting that you can no longer climb the chains to pre-spawn Brachus Zahn for a boss bake. This has in fact been patched, which means we need to do the full boss encounter. When you activate the lever, one final unstop will appear, and I recommend getting a finisher here because this ammo will be carried up on the elevator for a brick later in the boss fight. As the elevator nears the boss room, jump up to the close left-hand side behind this cover underneath the left tower. There are an absurd number of turrets that spawn in when the elevator reaches the top, and standing here breaks the line of sight from almost all of them. Drop a well, take out the turrets, then shift your focus to the boss. Rockets absolutely bake this dude, and when you reach the 2/3 health gate, the boss will leave and jump up to the tower on the far right hand side of the arena. Make sure the boss actually puts up his shield, however, because he can in fact go up there before being fully health gated. When he fires his flare gun, this is your tell that the health gate is complete, which will spawn a wave of adds and the boss will no longer attack you. This wave will include 4 Cabal turrets and an Honor Guard Centurion surrounded by trash mobs. There will also be a Cabal dropship with one of those nasty turrets on it, so make sure to destroy it as quickly as possible. You only need to do this once, as the same ship will return later in the fight, but the turret will still be broken, which is super nice for later in the encounter. Once clear, take out the Centurion and grab the orb to spawn the next wave of enemies. Clear these from range, then rotate as a team to dunk the ball. I now like to switch sides and play near the right tower. The boss will move away from you, and this position gives you long sight lines on the war beasts that spawn in. You'll also be out of range from the next set of Cabal turrets, which makes this part quite easy. Once clear, push up to the front right hand side of the arena and use this ramp for cover from the boss. Damage until you reach the 1/3 health gate and wait for his flare gun once again. Once fired, a Shadow Guard Centurion will spawn directly in front of you. Kill it, but ignore the orb, as you have several other enemies to clear before dunking. A Thresher will appear, which is why I recommend popping a well while you clear the remaining adds. Wait for the Thresher to settle, take it out, then clear the rest of the room. Another shadow guard will spawn directly behind you, and once ready, you can kill it and get finishers as many times as you want for ammo. This will give you the ammo you need for the boss bake, which means you can send one person to dunk the orb while your teammates set up for the bake behind this generator. This spot allows you to spawn kill 2 of the turrets while remaining out of sight from the rest. Brachus Zahn will slowly make his way towards you, allowing you to bake the boss, making the revamped Arms Dealer Grandmaster Nightfall a GG. If you found this guide useful, a like and subscription would be greatly appreciated. You can also catch me live over at twitch.tv/above, where I'll be doing GM helps and making our own fun in Destiny all season long. Anyways, guys, that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace!